this is a dark story told in that kind of atmosphere of foreboding. Kali is a mother goddess who is a creator and a destroyer at the same time. And Devi is about the conflict between the rational reformism that was happening in the 19th century and the Hindu orthodoxy that was there at that time. And this young girl, the village bride of Uma Shankar, becomes the victim.
দেবী কাহিনী তো আমরা আগেই পড়েছি, বিশেষ করে আমি সাহিত্যের ছাত্র হওয়ার ফলে এই সমস্ত কাহিনী আমার পক্ষে আগে জানা সহজ ছিল। কিন্তু দেবী যখন ছবি হয় তখন ডিসকভার করি আমি, পড়ার সময় আগে পাইনি, সেটা বুঝতে পারিনি যে এইটা একটা কি বলবো রাগী ছবি। এটার ভেতর দিয়ে সত্যজিতের একটা প্রতিবাদ প্রকাশ পেয়েছে আমাদের দেশের কুসংস্কার, আমাদের দেশের যে সমস্ত পশ্চাদমুখী যে ধ্যান ধারণা, যে মানুষকে দেবতা বানাবার যে একটা আমাদের যে প্রথাই আছে, সেইগুলোর বিরুদ্ধে।
চিন্তা করো না নিবারণ, মায়ের চরণামৃতের চেয়ে বড় ঔষধ আর নেই।
এর মধ্যে খানিকটা পরিমাণে হয়তো মনোবিকলন এই কাহিনীর মধ্যে সত্যজিৎ রায় এনেছেন, যেখানে এই বৃদ্ধ শ্বশুরের হয়তো একটা অতিরিক্ত আকর্ষণ তার পুত্রবধূর প্রতি প্রকাশ পেয়েছে এবং তাকে সে কল্পনা করে নিয়েছে যে সে দেবী, সেই মতোই স্বপ্ন দেখেছে। কিন্তু তার থেকেও বেশি যেটা, যে ওই একটি লোকের স্বপ্নের উপর কিন্তু দেবীর কাহিনী দাঁড়িয়ে নেই। দেবীর কাহিনী লক্ষ লক্ষ ভারতীয় মানুষকে দেবতা ভাবার যে সংস্কারাচ্ছন্নতা, তার উপরে দাঁড়িয়ে রয়েছে।
It does happen even now, sometimes in sort of dark pockets of India, that kind of blind faith, superstition and obsession remains, and often a young girl becomes victim to that. Devi, of course, came very early in my life. I was just 14 at that time. And I would say it's the most complex character that I have played, and I would also say that's probably one of my favorite performances. And in Devi, I was one film old, so I was far more engaged in Devi. In Opur Shangshar, I did whatever Manikda, we call Satyajit Ray Manikda. I did his bidding. I mean, sometimes he would say, take one step, look up, raise your shoulder, sigh, wonderful, next shot, you know. Whereas in Opur Shangshar, I solely worked with Soumitra. Here I worked with many other people, and it was a wonderful role. I was moved by it. Chobi Vishwas is a veteran actor and came from the theatre, and that was another wonderful thing about Ray. He constantly mixed professionals with newcomers, and I was a rank. It was my second film, and I was not a professional. I was totally an amateur. And of course, working with him was very comfortable. And he was a man of very few words, but he didn't miss anything. He observed you, and you knew that very little escaped him. Ray brought so much prestige and recognition to Bengal. He was a very good communicator. He made film within a limited budget, and people went to see his films. He was very popular and had made a place for himself in the hearts of people.
সব ছবিতেই উনি সব কিছুর মধ্যেই থাকতেন, অর্থাৎ যে কাজটা নিয়ে আছে সেটের যে বংশী, সেও ওর সঙ্গে পরামর্শ করেই সব কিছু করতো। সুব্রত মিত্র কি পরবর্তীকালে সৌমেন্দু রায়, এরাও ওর সঙ্গে পরামর্শ করি তাদের আলো করতো, ছবির মানে ফটোগ্রাফি তারা সেইভাবেই চলতো। তবে অভিনেতাদের নিয়ে ওর সেরকম কোনো একটা মাত্র মেথড ছিল না। যাকে যেভাবে চালনা করলে তার কাছ থেকে সব থেকে ভালো কাজটা পাওয়া যাবে, উনি সেইভাবেই তাকে চালনা করতেন। আমি যে চরিত্রটা করেছিলাম সেটাকে তিনি অত্যন্ত আধুনিক মানুষ হিসেবে দেখিয়েছেন। সে তার পিতার পথ থেকে সরে যাচ্ছে এবং পিতার ওই যে সিদ্ধান্ত যে তার স্ত্রী দেবী, এটা সে মানছে না।
There is a short scene with a friend. The friend wants to marry a widow. And his father says, then I will disinherit you if you marry, because that's not really done.
Total disinheritance.
So these young people are trying to break away from the system and they are trying to oppose their father, but they're totally financially and otherwise dependent on their father.
সেটা তোমারও আছে। কোথায় আছে? নেই? বাহ 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 বাহ। মানে থাকবে না। থাকবে না? বাপের থাকবে, আমার থাকবে না।
So they can't quite break away, but there is this attempt to break away. And new ideas and new thoughts are coming. Before he leaves for Calcutta, they are different. But then when he comes back, he sees her already dressed up as a goddess and completely isolated from the family. And he looks at her and she shakes her head.
সেইখানে সে মানে কথার থেকেও বেশি তার ভাবাভি ব্যক্তির মধ্যে দিয়ে বলছে যে আমি দেবী, ঘাড় নেড়ে না আর বলা হচ্ছে না আমি দেবী নই। সে তার স্বামীর বিশ্বাসকেই রিঅ্যাফার্ম করছে এবং সে এমনকি দেবীকে নিয়ে চলে যাওয়ার চেষ্টা করছে। দেখছে সেই যে খড় কাঠামো দিয়ে যে দেবীর মূর্তি তৈরি হয়েছিল সেটা তখনও ভেসে রয়েছে, সেই দিকে তাকিয়ে যদি দেবী হই তাহলে তো এটা অন্যায় হবে আমার পালিয়ে এরকম করে চলে যাওয়া, এবং সেই জন্য স্বামী ওকে জোর করতে পারেনি। এই দিক থেকে কাহিনীটা অতি সুন্দরভাবে সত্যজিৎ রায় ডেভেলপ করেছিলেন।
Another wonderful thing about Ray was that he really liberated a scene from dialogues. Sometimes he built up an entire scene only with music. The thunderstorm in Pother Pachali. The opening sequence of Charulata. These are all just with music. And in this scene in Goddess, where he has this dream and he thinks his youngest daughter-in-law is a reincarnation of Devi, and he just comes, and then it's built up with his sound of his footwear. And she hears and she opens the door and he falls at her feet. And the revulsion, she's completely revolted and feels brutalized and crushed. So I think he really liberates a scene from dialogue, and it's a very powerful sequence. In Goddess, I mean, like any film, when it's made and it's out there, anybody can interpret it in their own way, and one need not agree with the interpretation. In Goddess, they felt that there was this attraction of the patriarch towards his daughter-in-law. You know, when she's massaging his feet and tending to him, giving him whatever he needs in the evening, and helping him to worship. There was a lot of comment on that. But when I was performing, I didn't feel it. It was more paternal. When you're such a young person and your father-in-law is really like your father, and, you know, it's more teasing and enjoyment and appreciation and his dependency on this girl who looks after him so well. That's how I read it. When I was shooting, I felt as if I was carrying a weight around. Nobody was listening to her. She was brought up in a way to listen to her elders and do what the men of the household told her to do. So she had no voice, no education, nowhere to go. Instinctively, she felt that, yes, there was something wrong, and she was not really Devi, but she didn't find the voice to express herself. You can sympathize with the patriarch despite his obsession, you can still feel that, yes, you can almost understand, where he's coming from. He believes in this, and he cannot understand how this child who became ill, and he says, there is no need for doctors. She will cure him.
তোমার কৃপায় নির্ভর করে তোমার কাছে ওকে নিয়ে এসেছি। আমি জানি মা, তোমার সাধ্যাতি তো কিছুই নেই।
And he doesn't understand when the child dies. He says this is her Leela. Leela means it's her play, it's her whim. He cannot actually understand that this is his fault and he should have called the doctor. And she's not the goddess. I mean, that's beyond his comprehension.
তার কোলে তুলে দিয়েছিল বাবা, সে আর ফিরিয়ে দিলে না।
এবং তার মধ্যে যে মানবিক ব্যথাগুলো এসেছে, যে একজন নারী সে তার নিজস্ব সত্তাকে হারিয়ে তার নিজস্ব সত্তাকে বিসর্জন দিতে বাধ্য হয়ে সে তার আরোপিত দেবীত্বকে মেনে নিচ্ছে। এই ধরনের কি বলবো, ভয়ঙ্করভাবে বিচলিত করে এই ধরনের কল্পনা এবং এই ধরনের কাজ। সেদিক থেকে দেবী ছবিটা খুব স্ট্রাইকিং।
Ray treats Dayamoi in this very, very close-ups. So it stays with you, her face. I mean, she's just made of instincts. There is no thinking or no thought process, and no revolt, no complaint. She just goes along with everything that's done to her. Every time I see it, I just feel so moved. Long after the film is over, the close-up of that girl really haunts you.
দাও শিখিত দাও, আমরা যাবো যে, দাও।
There was a lot of criticism about the film because they felt this was against Hinduism. But I don't think it was. It was against the orthodoxy of Hinduism, but not against Hinduism per se. But the film ran into trouble. He was probably taking a risk because anything to do with religion runs into problem because it's a kind of a delicate subject that people try to avoid. Although it wasn't stopped or banned or anything, it didn't do well at the box office at all.
Satyajit Ray was attacked by the critics that he has attacked the Hindu religion because he is, on religious counts, a Brahmo. But he was shocked hearing this because he was a free man in that way. He never subscribed to any such notions of religion.
এবার তোরে চিনেছি মা, এবার তোরে চিনেছি মা।
There's that devotional song sung by this person, who comes and sits near the temple and sings. And Ray was researching and trying to find a suitable song with the right words, and he couldn't find it, so he wrote it himself. So, I think it was very unfair to say that he didn't understand the nuances of the faith and, he was trying to rubbish it. Not at all.
He tried to sort of enlighten his people many times through many of his films. For instance, one of his last films, Enemy of the People, Ganashotru, there also he has raised this question of whole lot of people subscribing to this kind of a backward notion where they sacrifice hygiene and safety and uphold the unquestionable supremacy of the God. That is, again, a thing which he always wanted to fight or make people aware so that people can fight it. Well, I must say that spread of education has done a lot to dispel this kind of thinking, and the situation is much better now. But not altogether better. We still find such backwardness. সত্যজিৎ রায়ের বেশিরভাগ ছবি বেশিরভাগ মানুষের কাছে সারা পৃথিবীতে প্রিয়তা পায় একটাই কারণে। সেই কারণটা হচ্ছে তার মৌলিক মানবতার জন্যে। সে মানুষের সাধারণ জীবন, মানুষের সুখ দুঃখ, মানুষের ব্যথা বেদনাকে নিয়েই তার ছবি। সেই ছবিতে সে মানুষের পাশে আছে।